So, had a bit of a workout this morning. Now, been thinking about this, and I have this rule for myself. Um, because I know myself, but when I was like younger, I used to think I was like hearing from God, and then I would sometimes question God, and then if some half the time God would change his mind, but then the other half he didn't, right? And when he changed his mind, it was because he was pleased at the fact that I had the courage to question him. I had the courage to question him, and so he was like, and then he would admit to that was a bad thing to go and that would have been a bad thing to go say or do, but he just wanted to see if I had the wherewithal to question him just once. If he continuously gave me the same answer and I kept questioning, he'd want me to learn the lesson. Because obviously I was going to go do this thing or say this thing anyway. But, and then the thing is now it's like I know it's him. If I wait a day or something and the perspective is still the same. I wait the day and if the message is the same, it's him. Because people say, voice of God technology. No, because I come down to that thinking of being not knowing about my things, but I know now. The ASD and autism. I mean, ASD is autism, but they say it's a spectrum because I used to think I was level 1 because of the communication thing. I like talking, but I can't really read social cues, and I like listening to other people, but I can't really read the social cues. But I give a social battery like after an hour or hour and a half. It's like I still like it socializing, but it's the energy is low from it. But I like there's an ace. This I enjoy this, and this person has helped meet my needs, and I want to meet their needs. But I'm like getting exhausted by that stage, or I'm not. I can still keep going, but if I was to keep going past that, I wouldn't be able to do my goals. Like I'd be able to cook food and take care of myself, cook food, wash myself, potter around the home and stuff, but more than to do anything else after an hour and a half of socializing would be a huge ask. Either I won't be able to do it or I'll have to make sure that I have nothing planned for the next day, the day after that, if I still go out and do my goals and stuff. And I'm socializing for that long. So, social media, a good thing or a bad thing? That's what I was going to be talking about. Because I've had about many, like 50 topics come to mind, but then like 5 minutes later or a couple hours later, it's like, nah, I won't do that, But then like maybe a day later, it'll be one. You're like, yeah, and it's like you still have it on your heart to do it, and it's like, okay, I'm going to speak on this. The other 50, yeah. But social media, it is what it is. I think it does more harm than good, but the reason why I got on here is because, okay, again with the autism thing. I've overcome this, but a lot of people thought that I was like, when I hit my 20s, I went through what I went through because I was faking my whole life. But no, I just couldn't. I now have the verbiage for it, and I admit it to myself, but I just couldn't keep it up. Like, I'd be going to school, I'd be going to church, I'd be doing my studies, I'd be doing all this and that. But once I hit my 24 years old, I couldn't keep it up anymore. I was getting this. That's when I started having meltdowns. And meltdown is not by choice. Meltdown is by, it's too much, right? But the thing is I don't get those anymore. I get shutdowns, but shutdowns just means you shut down. And usually, yeah, I always time myself so my shutdowns happen when I'm here. So yeah, but the thing is I know my limits. I know all this type of thing. So if people that are struggling with things, because again, that's the spectrum. Sometimes they have these kids that can't keep up, and or whatever, or maybe they're because again, it can show up at different times in your life. I mean, it gets to the point where you can't do it, right? Well, I've already been through that, and now I have everything in place. So I didn't have that happen until I got to my 24 years old. So it wasn't a thing of faking it. It's just like, and I wasn't weak. It was just like because I used to push myself to my absolute 100%, and I thought that was normal. But then I just couldn't maintain that. I was in my mid-20s, and so the meltdowns were happening. Even meltdowns in public. But now I don't get that. One time I was just like pushing it, and I had like 1 hour sleep in the space of 31 hours because of there was like 12. My body just wasn't. My body just didn't go to sleep because the job I was doing at the time. So long as you had 12 hours in between when you finished your last shift and began the next one, and yeah, you know. But yeah, I finished, and then my body just wasn't going to sleep because sometimes I was on day, sometimes on night, and so this time I wasn't going to sleep. And then, so I had a 12-hour thing, and then tried to shift, and then tried to get sleep. Couldn't get any, only got 1 hour sleep, and then had to get up for another 12-hour shift. And it was at the end of that 12-hour shift that I had a meltdown in my car. And that's the last time that I have had a meltdown. That was about 2 years ago. So, social media is, because, when you're thinking, you see these people like, oh, they say we're the best, we're this and that, we've got all these, I got this real hot ass wife, I live in a mansion and all this type of thing, and it was like that. It was like you had a whole bunch of guys like that when I was in my 20s on it. So that's why I jumped on here, started doing my stuff, is because people who are putting in 100% effort and at everything, and either just your average person or are struggling, but God's already promised me I'm going to be very successful. But the thing is they can see something like this, and they can see the progression, and then I'm going to stop once I become real successful.